Hi, everybody. I am Jamie Runnels, professor in the Department of Arts at Jacksonville State University. This is my first time hosting a Teams Live event. So if you guys would, for me, just type in the chat if you're hearing me, if you're seeing me, let me know if everything's going okay. I'm not getting any, not getting any response. Tommy, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah, but I can't see you because
you can't see
my
me.
full screen is on.
Oh, on
my
your
full screen is on the slide. So, but
okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. Let me just give another second. There's not any comments showing up. Okay, I see we have attendees, but I'm not here. Oh, there we go. Sarah Ellis. Thank you, Sarah. Patrice, thank you. Sorry, there was a lag. I can hear, but can't see. Okay, can everybody hear me and see me? Yes, Patrice, good. Okay, awesome. Thanks, everybody. Okay. So thanks to everybody who entered work, the juried student design show. We had a great turnout this year. The work in the gallery looks amazing. Thanks to everybody who was able to come to the opening. For those of you who weren't able to come, we have a few virtual shots on our social media. So I'll share those links later and hopefully you can check that out. We've also made some posts about the winners' names and the schools that they were coming from. And I am super duper excited to welcome our guest lecturer tonight, Tommy Perez. He was the juror for the exhibition and hopefully you've seen his work. It's so amazing. So excited to hear about his process and just get to know him a little bit better through this talk. If you would for me, guys, I'm going to probably mute everybody during his talk, but make sure your mic is muted. If you have questions for Tommy, feel free to type them in the comment section and we'll get to those at the end of the presentation. If I can figure out how to share your faces, I'll try to share so you can ask him directly. But again, this is my first time hosting one of these, so bear with me. So let me introduce Tommy. Tommy is a freelance multidisciplinary maker based out of Southern California. With a love for storytelling and collaboration, Tommy crafts compositions with paper, produce, and various props. He's a self-described designer, doodler, and frequent paper crafter who works with unusual materials in the making of his diverse portfolio of work. From bacon bits and wonton wrappers to paper and glue, the mediums used are worked into vibrant compositions and colorful creations. And can I say, his use of color is amazing if you haven't seen his stuff, and you'll see that in a minute. Tommy has had the great pleasure to collaborate with clients such as 20th Century Fox, Adidas, Benefit Cosmetics, Coca-Cola, Facebook, Ford Motor Company, Fossil, Marvel Entertainment, Nickelodeon, Sparkling Ice, Specialized Bicycles, Target, and Too Faced Cosmetics. Amazing. When he's not making fun stuff, he enjoys skateboarding and root beer floats. I love that. So I'm gonna hand it over to Tommy. Let me show your face for a second, Tommy, and you can say hey before I publish your screen. So Tommy's live now. Hi, Tommy.
How's it going, everyone?
And if I can figure it out, I'm going to share you and your screen at the same time. Well, let me see if I can figure that out. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I can't say anything, so let me know when it's all good to go.
Let me try this, see if I've got it figured out. Is someone knocking on my door? Okay, there's you and your screen.
Awesome. So can you can hear me, correct?
Yes. Hold on
awesome.
one
okay.
second.
This is long, gonna be long.
Okay.
Hold on one second. I've just had somebody come in and say that they're not seeing anything.
Oh, that's not good.
That's not You're not getting any video?
I should.
Those of you in the chat, are you seeing Tommy and his screen? Okay, Sarah. Okay, sorry. We've got confirmation that we can see in here. There's a little bit of a lag. Okay, you are live. Your screen is live, Tommy. Sorry for that delay, everybody. Handing it over to you. Here we go.
Awesome. So I was trying to come up with like an idea to show process, but also share like a bit of my like story and like part of my process on how I actually got here. So I came up with this this like kind of like a mashup talk of like behind the scenes work process of making this title slide, and also the process of like my path of like my career so far. And so that's where we get the process of change. And so the way that I start off like any project is with like concepting. That's like sketching out, writing stuff. To me, like the whole idea and like the basis and the concept of anything is like the most important part, because you could have something that's like super beautiful and like beautiful, but if it doesn't have like a story or like anything that resonates with people, it's just going to be like purely eye candy, which is not a bad thing. I tend to do a lot of that in my personal work, where I just want to make something that looks cool or like that I think would be cool. And so I tend to do that a lot in my personal stuff, but I think there still is like a concept to whatever I'm making. And that's usually where I spend like the most, like the bulk of my time on a project, is in this first early stage of like concepting. And so it takes a shit ton of bad ideas to find that like gold nugget. And so like I fill up the trash with all of my bad ideas. I fill up sketchbooks, all that stuff, trying to find like what is that, like what is that good, really awesome idea. And so like there's always, for me, there's a lot of fear in my process, where like there is always like fear to start, where like I'm looking at that blank document and I'm like, oh crap, like this could be anything, like what could it be? So there's that fear initially there. And so I try to use that fear to push me to make something that I've never like made before. So like always trying to one up myself with every single project that I do. Yeah, so I'm always trying to look for different ways to tell a story. Since having 2 kids, they've definitely helped me to like see things through that childlike lens again. And so, because I growing up going through work and everything, I've become like a bit jaded on like, oh, I've seen that, I've seen that, I've seen this, I've seen that. So I've just been trying to format the way that I see things, and just like trying to see past the usual barriers that I put on myself. And I try to knock those down and explore new directions, like when I'm starting a new project. And so, yeah, like during all this concepting, I'm like writing. It's not just purely drawing. And I've heard people say like, well, I can't draw. And so like, you don't really need to be able to be the best like illustrator. Like you'll see throughout this process that I'm not the best illustrator at all. But it's just being able to get that idea out of your head and onto paper, and even if it is just through writing or in the notes app, which I have like a bunch of notes on like all these things that I want to make, or like if I'm concepting something, like I'll literally just write words out and try to figure all these things out. And this was basically me concepting how I wanted to tell this process of change kind of thing. And so it's just telling the story of change through vignettes. And then I would like broke it out into like, all right, so these are the different like stages of my process, and how can those also relate to the different stages of my career path as well. So yeah. So this is me sketching out. Okay, so like, what do I want to show? Do I want to show like 4 key things, like a concept sketch, a digital color, well, let me go back. So like my process kind of is basically sketching, concepting, and then I go into like a digital color comp, and then 3, I make and build everything, and then 4, I bring all that back into the computer by capturing it and like photographing it, and then from there it's like if it's a single shot, then I'll do some post work, and then if it's like an animation, I'll do a lot of editing and like animating on it as well, and I'll share more of that as well. So this is kind of me thinking, okay, like it would be cool to show like all these different stages of my process, but with time not being on my side, I was like, it makes the most sense to try to combine all of those things into one. And so here is where I landed, where like I was showing I'm showing the concepting part and with my sketchbooks, and then I got my makings, or I got my digital part with like my computer, and then I got like the making with the glue and like the cutting mat and everything, and then I got my lights, and then my photographer, like my camera floating there, and then it all goes back into the computer, and then yeah. So that's pretty much, I was like, all right, I can bring all the pieces together. And so since we're in like the concepting, sketching stage is where every project starts. So it makes sense that this is kind of like to start where like my story starts as far as my personal career path. And so fail fast, learn fast. When I was in school, I was like definitely trying a lot of different things really, really quickly to see what worked and like what didn't work. And I think this saying, I use this still to the day, to this day, like where like if something is like, I'll try quick ideas, and if it doesn't work, all right, then I'll move on really fast. And so like, and also if like a project didn't really go 100% like the way that I wanted to go, then I would like take whatever did work and then use that and apply that to the next project. Yes, it takes risks, experiment, and find what drives you. And so like this is the same thing. Like even in school and now, I still have to like force myself to take risks and like experiment and find new things. Because at this time when I was in school, I was not open, and there was like it's kind of funny now because like a lot of my stuff moves and it animates and everything. And at this time when I was in school, I thought I was only going to be doing like package design or like editorial design or something of that sort. And then there was like electives where I could learn and to be better at like motion graphics. And I was like, no, I'm never going to do any kind of animation. And now I totally wish that I did, because now a lot of my stuff moves and it's animated. And so, yeah, I definitely wish I was open earlier in my career as far as like being open to like different avenues that I could explore. So I graduate from school. I'm freaking out because I wasn't able to find a job like right out of school. And I think it went on for like months and months where I wasn't finding any work. But I was like, all right, so I got to keep use this fear. Once again, there's a lot of fear and this imposter syndrome, like, oh man, I suck. Everyone's better than me. I used that and I kept pushing through. And so when I graduated, I think my whole I love color. And so it's kind of funny that this image is not color, but I love color. And so when I graduated, I had like my whole book and my whole my business cards were all based on paint color cards. And so it just so happenstance that they're a paint company in Southern California. They had seen my cards and they reached out for me to do just started off to do like their internal corporate newsletter. And so I was like, all right, like this seems like a cool opportunity to like do something. And so like I wanted to take their newsletter, and I was like, okay, can we make it into like more of like a magazine kind of feel? And so it was taking this opportunity of like what could have been just like a normal run of the mill kind of newsletter, and then making it into like a magazine where like I made like these color card kind of like Christmas trees for like a holiday ad that I just made up randomly. And so I used that, and this was like it was basically like it wasn't a full-time position. They just hired me to do these, but since I was doing these and having a lot of fun with it, that showed through, and the art director there reached out about like hiring me full-time. And so this little like one-off job turned into me getting a full-time job by me taking the opportunity to be like, I'm gonna push, this like idea as far as I can. And so when I was there, these are not even like, so I did a lot of like the rebranding of their current cans. So like, a lot of their cans that are out now, I was able to work on those and like touch all of those. But they would constantly come up with like, we want to change, like we want to come up with like a new paint design, like a paint can design. And so like I would come up with a bunch of ideas that like never ever saw the light of day. And so I got pretty burnt out after designing so many cans over and over and over. And then I realized that it wasn't for me, and I wasn't going to grow anymore there. And I could see like I was kind of plateauing in my passions and everything. And so basically I got burnt out, and then I was like, okay, crap, like I've been like staring at the computer too long. The commute was like crazy, and I was sitting in traffic. And so I was like, all right, I got to get out, like away from the computer and start making stuff with my hands again. And then, so yeah, I use that burnout sucks. But it's also kind of cool because I embraced it, and I looked to like start like a fire somewhere else. And so I was like, dang, I need to use this burnout like that I have from like where I'm working, and figure out like what is actually like driving me. And so this is like actually really silly, but this is well, I guess it's like, yeah, on Monday, July 18th, 2011. So yeah, it's been a bit like since I've been making these things. But I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna start like, I love 3D, like I love 3D art, but I didn't know any 3D programs or anything. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna make like 3-dimensional paper pieces, and I'm gonna just like make a silly little blog thing called Choice Cuts and frequent paper cuts, and I'm just gonna make things, just for fun, just for me, that I like when I get home from work, I'm gonna make these silly things. And so at this time I was like, okay, like I don't really know what I want to make, but like, okay, the alphabet is always there. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna use the alphabet like to help me, like guide me. And so like I did, all right, letter A, I'm gonna make an accordion. And I think at this time, Captain America, yeah, what I'm reading is, yeah, the first Captain America came out, and I was like, I'm just gonna put like make it look like Captain America kind of thing. And so I made this silly accordion. And then I think B was like a bulldog, and then C was my cubicle at work, which is yeah, that's what you're seeing right there, is my cubicle at work. And so I was like, yeah, this is super fun. I was like, I was doing this, getting like really fulfilled. And at this time, everything, so all of this stuff is all like hand cut. And the way that I was doing this was kind of probably, well, not backwards, but like way more, it was a lot more like time intensive, where like I would illustrate this in like Illustrator, then I would print this out on like white paper, and then I would cut that out so that it looked like it was like that everything was like illustrated with like all like I don't know, it had like grain and like all this shading and everything. And so this is like where it started, and like my style after like doing it like quite a bit has changed, which you'll notice as I keep going. But it's like another thing where I was like, yeah,
Tommy, sorry, 1 second. You just got muted. Uh-oh. Can you unmute your mic real quick? Are you able to unmute your mic, Tommy? Oh, there you go.
It's not
Okay.
letting me.
I can hear you now.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good.
I was hearing a noise and I hit mute all and it muted you. I didn't expect it to mute you. Oh, it's showing you muted again. Are you muted now? Or can you? Can you unmute again?
It's not letting me do anything.
Okay, now you're back. Okay, fingers crossed. I'm so sorry.
Am I good?
Yes.
No, it's all good.
I put your screen back on.
Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, and let me put your screen back on.
Okay. All good.
So sorry. Okay.
No, it's all good.
I hadn't seen your blog yet, the Choice Cuts. Is it Choice Cuts or Frequent Paper Cuts? Okay. Is it still live?
Choice Cuts.
Is it still?
It might be.
Okay.
It's like a blog spot, so you don't have to pay for it. So it should still be there.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to go look it up. Okay, so we lost the last maybe 10 seconds of what you said. Do you want to go back one slide? I'm so sorry.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did you hear about me making my cubicle out of it, like paper?
Yes.
Like the letter C. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So and that was the letter.
You were doing it the long hard way at first.
Longer way. Yeah. So yeah, I was doing it longer. Like the way that I was making these is I was illustrating them all, and then I was printing them out on like a laser. I think it was like a LaserJet printer, and then I would cut these out and then photograph them. And I was like, it was longer, but I was like super like just stoked on what I was doing because I was getting out of the computer, and I was like I could see that I was feeling a lot better with what I was doing versus like just designing cans, like a ton of paint cans. And so yeah, like I made these Daft Punk these little paper models of Daft Punk. And I was like, I gotta be able to I can't just have them be just like their normal colors. Like Daft Punk is like super like they glow in the dark and stuff. And so I reached out to my brother, and I was like, is there a way that we could screen print like a layer on these? And so we screen print like glow in the dark ink on them. And then just for no reason, I was like, I'm gonna make these these paper mustaches that will have like an X-Acto blade. And I think one was like a straight. It was like a straight edge like ruler, and then there was one that was like two pieces of tape, or like rolls of tape that were kind of like a handlebar mustache, and just awesome. Like silly stuff. Yeah, the silly stuff that I was doing for fun, and I was like really like finding that I was like getting really happy doing this. And then all right, now let's just move on to step 2 of my process, which is digital. So like this is me after like I've concepted all those sketches. Now I bring those sketches into the computer, back again, and then so I take the sketch that I had, and then I start making a digital like a digital comp of it, which is basically using like my graphic design background here. And so like I'll jump into Illustrator, and I will basically illustrate everything in here. And there's like a different level of like fidelity depending on if it's a personal project or if it's an actual like client work. So like on this on a job, this is pretty much where I would spend like a lot of time if it was like with a client, because this is where I figure out color, size, and all these things. And this is usually where the final approval comes from. And so it's like, once I get approval on this, I can't really, and I start making, it's like, we can't really change much after the fact that like I've already made. So it's a lot of like, just like talking with whoever I'm working with about, okay, are you cool with everything here? And like, generally a lot of the people that work with me know my style. And so they'll know kind of what to expect. It's not like a surprise, like, oh, wow, like I didn't expect anything to be like 3D and out of paper. So, but here's where like I'll spend a lot of time figuring things out. And I also where I like people have asked if I know any 3D programs and like if I use any kind of like template kind of building programs, because there are programs that will basically make a like it'll take something and then make it like into like a buildable paper template thing. But I don't know any of those programs, and so this is kind of like walking through like my artboards on like on these pieces that I've built. And so it's just me figuring out how these things will could be built in 3D.
Wow.
And I live in this outline mode.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I love outline mode.
Yeah.
Like outline mode is like my friend, where it's like I can go back and forth. And like a lot of it is trial and error, trying to figure out like what tabs will work best. And like, yeah, like I've been doing it now for quite a bit, that I've like I have the idea of like, okay, like I have the knowledge of like, okay, so this is how I can build this shape. And what's cool is like, as I keep making and making things, I kind of have like a digital library where I can go back and be like, okay, so like this camera lens piece is very similar to this piece. So I could jump into that file and grab that, like how I built that piece, and then I could use it as like the camera lens kind of thing. So yeah, a lot of that stuff. And it's cool having all these things like saved still. Yeah. To me, this isn't fascinating. This is like, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just a lot of artboards.
I think it's amazing. And you must have a really great organizational system so that you can go back and find these things. Maybe.
I try to, yeah. Like I have all my projects in a folder, and they're all like organized. And then I have like my personal work, which it'll see here. They're all under like this quick crafts kind of thing. And in there, they're all in their own folders. And I have like I know where the projects are, but I'll find myself going back on like my own Instagram and like looking at seeing like, okay, so I know I made this shape. What project did I make it on? And then I'll look at that like on Instagram, and then I'll go into my folders and be like, okay, it was on like this benefit project. And then I'll find it there, wow. Which is kind of funny.
Amazing.
All right, so yeah, so back to, now we're gonna go switch back to like the life part. And so yeah, like when I was making all those things out of paper, I was realizing like that passion kind of came back, where I was like super stoked on like making things again. And so yeah, like I definitely was like, all right, I'm gonna start doing some like I'm gonna push into this passion, and make these little passion projects, for myself. And so I've done a ton of passion projects, and they've been so like invaluable to like just like my growth, and not even just like career wise, but like mentally, and like just like my creative health has been has benefited so much from just being able to like walk away from a project and like start doing my own thing. And so yeah, I could like commit to the craft, which is like, it's like, this is like where my quick crafts kind of like start. This is like passion, drive, and commitment can beat out pure talent alone. And I've seen this like numerous times. I'm not even the best at like at like my paper illustration kind of like thing, but like the amount of work that I've put out, and like the passion that I put into it, and like just like the commitment that I've shown to it, like has like gotten like people have like know me because of this. And so like I've seen like a lot of people who are like amazing, but like they won't share, or like, yeah, like they won't share, or like be like sharing all these things, so people don't know that they're there. So like, yeah, like you can be, yeah, like I'm definitely not the best, but I do share a lot of work. I make a ton of work, and then I make a ton more. And so this is one of like my first real like passion side projects, and it's like one of the ones that got a lot of people to know who I am. And it's funny because it doesn't have anything to do with paper, and I don't even really like play with food anymore. But I think it set like a really cool foundation for like working like with tactile like stuff, and like paper being like one of the big ones. And so at that time I left Bear because I felt like I was like super burnt out, and I was like, I gotta make a switch. So I left Bear because my my daughter was she was born, and I was like, okay, well, she was born a few years earlier, but like she was getting around 2 years old. She was getting bigger, and so I was like, all right, like I could leave that job, and I could freelance for a bit, and I could spend time with Zoe. And while I was freelancing, Zoe always wanted to be a part of like whatever I was doing. And like, instead of saying no, I was like, okay, like I want to create like this project, you know, like with me and her, that way we could like do something fun together. I could also teach her the alphabet, and like we could, she could see like the value of like from like starting like a project from like concept to completion. And then this is where this A to Zoe project came from, and it's pretty much like, again, taking cues from the alphabet and lettering letters and like using the ingredients that the letter starts with. So like A, applesauce, a B is bacon, and all the way to Z. And so this is like one of my most favorite ones. Not that it's like the best project I've ever done, but it was like the most like sentimental and like emotional attachment, and like just being able to have that time with my daughter, and then having it like actually like having it. I mean, like I have the memory now. Like we've made like we personally made a little book for her, and like she still looks back on it. Now she's 10, almost 10. So yeah, this was like a pretty long time ago now. This is what.
Is that her sweet little hand reaching in? Is that her little hand reaching in? Pictures.
That is her. Sweet. Yeah, that was her thing. Was like she would come in, and like she knew where to like put her hand, or like if she's picking up like a little pretzel, like she knew exactly which one to get. Like that was all her.
That's awesome.
But this one got written up a lot on like a lot of blogs and a lot of like websites, and so it was really good to like get like my name out there. But then it was also a lot of trolls and like people who were like, there was some negativity in like around it, where they were like, this is probably some like unemployed graphic designer, and like and like they weren't wrong, because I technically was unemployed. But it was, the Reddit comments were definitely pretty bad. But one of my favorite projects, and so like the start of like committing to doing more and more passion projects. And so this is where my style started changing, where before I was where I was illustrating it digitally and then printing it out and then building it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start like going like simple, like I'm gonna simplify it down to the base of it, and like just use purely color. And so I would still make my flat templates, but I would print it on colored paper, and then I would cut it out, and I would use the printed die line on like as a guide on how to fold it, but I would fold it on the inside, if that makes sense. Like I would hide my template on the inside,
okay.
Which is actually kind of crazy. But yeah, so this was one where a buddy just reached out and like asked me if I would want to do like make something for like, he was doing like he had a blog where he was just like he would ask artists to make something that was like about snacks, and it was I think it was called Snacks Quarterly. And I was like, yeah, I'll just make a Happy Meal, and I'll have things exploding. And this is like, you could see like, I love things floating, and like this is like where like my love for like 3D art comes from here. We're like, okay, I don't know how to make anything in 3D, so I'm just gonna like make it real and Photoshop it. And so on the far right, you could see like the unedited version where at this time I was using a lot of fishing line to like suspend things. And then I would have to go through and like just clone everything out.
That's a lot.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, and like you could see, like I would tape like a sheet of paper onto the wall, and I would have like a sheet of paper underneath it, and then I would just photograph. And like at this time, this was all like using natural light. So like I would just there's a window off to the like on the left, and then that was my light source, and then I would just I would photograph it, and then I would punch up the colors and like in Photoshop.
Wow. Yeah, I love seeing the fishing lines and the sort of process shot. That's so cool.
Yeah. All right. And so step 3, after I've done all of those things, I've made my templates and I made my digital comps, then I go into making. And so, yeah, this is pretty much, I don't know, I just like making weird little GIFs, but that's pretty much how like a template would of a box is pretty much made. And so like, I don't know, it's just cool. But this is my process. I illustrate and then I just take it out of the computer and then I'm done. Like, I love this GIF. It's so fun. So this is my actual process. So like of me making some of these things. So just some photos of like me making the camera and like all the tabs that go into like curved pieces. So like for me, I mean, I know that a lot of people do they do like their paperwork differently. For me, a lot of tabs equal like really nice curves, and so it's just like experimenting on like how many tabs I can get away with, and like figuring that out. Oh yeah, this was in like a process shot of me making an Adidas Oreo, and so I was making this Oreo, and I was like, something was wrong because I didn't have all these little like ridge tab things on it at first, and I was like eating an Oreo, and I was like, what makes this Oreo like look like so cool? And I was like, oh, it's like these little ridges, and so like I added one or two like one of these little like tab ridge pieces, and I was like, okay, like that's what was missing, and so I had to basically add all these little pieces onto every single piece of the Oreo that I made, and I had to make multiple pieces because it kind of like disappears into milk, which you'll see later on. So like yeah, but like I was definitely like, it's these small little details that you add that make like the piece really cool. And I think on this one piece there's like 608 tabs on like one of the Oreos. So yeah, and then I had to duplicate those on every single one.
Are you hand
which
cutting?
Is crazy.
Or are you using a laser cutter at all, or are you hand cutting stuff?
Now I am using a little desktop cutter. That helps me now. Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do like half of the amount of work that I do, or like adding these little ridges would have been like insane to be cutting it all by hand.
Yeah.
And at that, it's been like a struggle of like, not like an identity kind of thing, but it's like where like I was like, okay, like everything has to be done by hand, and that's what I did for so long. And then I was like, no, like using a cutter is like using a printer. Like if you're illustrating and you print it out like a poster, like you still created everything. So it's like I was like, why would it be different than if I illustrate and I concept and I illustrate and I make all these things, but then I have like a little cutter help me cut it. I'm still putting everything together by hand after the fact, and then I'm photographing it, and then I'm editing it. So yeah, I was like, I should go easy on myself. Like I'm still making like cool stuff. So like I definitely struggled with it for a little bit though.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then so yeah, this is where Quick Crafts was born after I started like I did that A to Zoe project, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna like push more into my paper craft stuff, and I wanted to make myself known for something, you know. So I was like, all right, I'm going to basically put a bunch of work into making out of paper, and so that's where this Quick Crafts kind of idea came from. And it was basically me taking the alphabet, well, no, not the alphabet on this one, sorry, this one was me taking like the national days, and I think this was kind of this was like a little bit before it like blew up, where like every day there is like so many things for every day now. But at that time I was like, all right, like I'm gonna like on this day MTV launched, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna make an MTV logo, like this is National Ice Cream Sandwich Day, or on this day like Saved by the Bell, you know, like came out, and so I just started making like I started taking those national days as like a cue to like, all right, I'm gonna make things like paper things based on those days, and that's kind of where quick crafts came from, and it's now kind of how I just like hashtagged all my work as a quick craft, even though a lot of them aren't quick anymore. And so like that's when it first started, and then this is what they start going into, where like I started adding my quick crafts have more life and like more animation, and they just started getting more and more complex and having like taken on like a mind of their own. Let's see, yeah, more quick crafts. Like I love this. Like I started like experimenting with having things move, and this is closer to where I am now with with quick crafts. And so yeah, like I I just kept on pushing and kept on sharing, and like at the when I first started, like there was like no likes coming in, or like no one was like seeing my work, but I just kept like I kept sharing and sharing and sharing, and then eventually like people started seeing it. And like even now, I think now it's even harder though, like with this Instagram and like social media in general, with like this whole algorithm, and like if I don't share something, like I get like screwed over, where like nobody will see my work. But it's like I've just like I had to switch my mind, where like, okay, it's even if just one person sees the work, and like that person either like needed to see it and like it made them happy, or or that person is somebody that could hire me, like even if that one person sees it, then that like what I made was worth it, like what I shared was worth it. Yeah, there's only, and like so like throughout this whole process I was like trying to find what my style was, and like I still don't know like what my style technically is, but I feel like everything that I do, I try to add like my secret sauce into it, and so like it inevitably comes out like looking like something that I've made. And like yeah, there's only one you, like add you into every project that you do. Like one of my friends, like he would say like put your big toe in it, you know, like make it look like it came from you. So step 4 now is shooting and editing. So like after I've made everything, I shoot it, I edit and animate it, and like bring it back into the computer, and I do all that good stuff. And so like, let's see. At this, yeah, like a lot of it wasn't even like I mentioned that like I was shooting with natural light for a while, and like still able to like bring things out. And it's not about like the tools that you have. It's pretty much just like how you use those tools. Um, so this is like some like behind the scenes of me like shooting these things. Now I use a lot of wire. It like because my pieces have gotten a lot heavier, or like well not heavier but just bigger. So and like wire is like it can hold things at like really cool angles with less fishing line and stuff like that. So like I use a lot of wire now. And like I've invested in myself, like where like I was like, okay, if I'm doing this, I should invest in myself. And I've gotten like C stands that like I could like attach the wire to. But yeah, it's still pretty like lo-fi as far as like just using like foam core. And I think at this time, we were in the middle of like some transition kind of stuff. So like I'm shooting in like our half of the living room kind of thing. So I would just take over like a big half of it and just use it whenever I could. And like I got some actual like good lights. Like I shot with like I was working with like a photographer friend, and so like when I would work with him, I would be like, okay, his stuff is coming out like this, and like he's making my work look like this. So like if I want to do it on my own, I should get like some like a similar setup, so that way things are consistent looking. And so yeah, like I bought some lights, and then I got like a better camera, but like it's not really you don't need the craziest camera or the craziest lights. I think I had like a cheap set off of Amazon for the longest time when I started doing more like stop motion, and I needed a continuous light set. But if you are wanting to do stop motion, like a pair of like a really good pair of lights, like a set of lights will is amazing, just so you have like a really consistent light source when you do stop motion. And so like this is kind of like the layer setup. Like I'll do like a masking preview. Like I work, what is it, like non-deconstructive, or is it deconstructive? I forget which one, but I always have like layers where like I could like, and I use masks so I could turn things on and off, and I don't actually edit on the layers, so I could always go back. But this is me just going through each frame and removing wires from making an Oreo flip and then dunk into itself. But it's, you can see like every single layer has like a cloning out of that wire. And like Photoshop has gotten so much better now, like where like you could like with like there's like the, oh my gosh, I forget what it's called. It's like this path, like this I forget which one it is. It's like this like one over here. But it's so good as far as like knowing content aware and stuff of like what's in the background. So yeah, like I definitely would use Photoshop to your is your friend. Like definitely use it. And so like back to the title sequence, like you could see like I remove all the wires, I add some shading, I adjust like the photo a little more, and then I just basically, yeah, like I add like a bump of color. But all these are like layers for me, like, yeah, removing wires. Yeah, like pretty, and I try to keep like, I try to make stuff like as clean, like the actual physical paper pieces as clean as possible. That way I could like minimize the amount of posts that I do. So like the post really is just like color and maybe like some adjustment as far as like proportions, and like maybe adding some more like shadows in, and like adding and masking out wires. But I'm not really like spending a lot of time cleaning up the paper pieces, because I try to like keep the glue like to a minimum, like as I'm making. And so yeah, that's how this one comes together. So the process of this one is that sketch, a digital comp, and then the final one.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah. And so to continue a little bit onto like my story after starting the quick crafts and stuff. So I was doing that, and like this Washington Post thing was actually like one of my first paid kind of paper projects. And the way that it came, like the way that I got it was by that passion like side project, like through quick crafts, like people started seeing those, and then they were like, well, we like what you're doing there, like you can make weird, like weird paper food things. Can you make like we're doing like it was a story about how to store your fruits and veggies like properly. And so I was like super stoked. The only thing about like editorial stuff like this, it's usually like a really fast timeline, and like I was like, okay, I have to make like 10 paper pieces in like not even like a week. It was and like also photograph them and then edit them. So, but I was like so stoked to do this. So I'm really happy about that one. I love that banana spiral. That's like one of my favorite ones to this day. So, and then yeah, so this was an older. This is before I started doing like animation. An agency like reached out. They had seen my A to Zoe stuff, and so like you can kind of see like they had seen the A to Zoe stuff, and they had seen my quick crafts, and so like they were like, we want you to do some food stuff and also some paper stuff. Have you ever animated anything? And this was before I animated anything, and I was like, oh yeah, like I totally know how to make animated GIFs. So like I was like, yeah, like I can do that. And then in my head, I'm like, oh shit, like how am I gonna do that? And then so like I was like, it's just a bunch of photos. I think I could do that. And so like now I use a software called Dragonframe, and at this time I had no idea what Dragonframe was. So I would just take a bunch of photos and then like hope that I got some kind of semblance of like an animation. when I brought it back into Photoshop. And so, yeah, like this was all like, it's cool looking back at old projects because I can kind of see, like, I could see and like trace back to how I got those projects. And a lot of them all come back to like my personal side projects versus like the actual client work. This was like a really, really fun one that I made for Ford. These are all like unbranded. They just wanted like really, really fun content. This was like when like Tumblr was like really big, and they were like, we want to have like our Ford Escape, you know, like just like showcasing one with the Ford Escape. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna show like the Ford Escape going through like different city like scenarios. And so you have like it's on the beach, it's like in a city, and then it's like in the woods. And so I was like, okay, how could I do that? And I thought of this really, really weird like spin dial that would just spin behind it. And then I just had this, I think it's not a Focus. I think it's a Fiesta. And I was just like, I'm gonna make it just like do like a weird like a cat mouse kind of thing. And so like it goes in and goes around. And then they were super cool with it. And the way that I got this was by this project, but it doesn't even look like they don't go together like at all. But this was like a personal thing where I was like, I'm gonna make, I love like Mario and I love like Ninja Turtles, and I was like, I'm gonna make these like villain like heads that I could just mount on my like a trophy head on my wall. And so I made them and I screen print, like I got them screen printed and I like perforated them, and like so they punch out, and I tried to like sell them. Like they actually sold really like horribly. Like no one wanted that. No one wanted them. But like what was cool was like the agency that was working with Ford, they saw that and they initially wanted me to make like a build your own Ford car kind of poster like this. But then like the budget, there wasn't a budget for them to produce those. So they're like, all right, can you make just like some animated GIFs? And then that's ultimately what I did on the previous one. But it was all basically the way that I got on the radar was by these things. So even though they didn't sell, they still helped me in the long run.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then so from that, I started doing like Target reached out, and this was before I did anything like in store with them. They were having a lot of super fun like on their social channels, and so they reached out about doing some stuff for Valentine's Day, and I created like this Love Fest kind of like flat lay, and like this Love-O-Matic kind of like it was like a what kind of like you would push like the button and it would like show what kind of love love you were. And then I did like an April showers one. Like that was one of the first times actually using like any kind of like store product or that. And so they sent me this umbrella, and like that umbrella, oh my God, photographing anything super shiny is like the worst. So I had to figure out how to I basically had to like cut it out and like drop the opacity down. So like it was crazy. And then it was also really, really huge. So at that time I didn't have any like backdrops or like backdrop wall, like paper. So I literally painted my wall blue and then shot on my wall. So like, and that's Zoe's little hand coming in on like on the bottom holding it. So those are really cool. And then a friend that I went to school with, she started working at Too Faced, and then she started noticing like the stuff that I was doing with paper. And like this goes to show like you never know where like your next project can come from. Like it can come from like anywhere, and like from your friends. So like you should make like I hate the term networking. Like I believe in making like friendships. And so from that friendship, she reached out and was like, let's make like would you be open to making some stuff for Too Faced? And that's when like I started making these little weird animations for Too Faced on like their products. This was like super fun, like just like working with a bunch of pink. Like I loved it, and like because at that time like they definitely were pushing like heavily into the pink. So like I got to make like a really cool TV, like a pool party, like this Paris set, like a cake. that just like eats it, like it eats itself, and like a conveyor belt, like a Willy Wonka kind of thing.
I love it.
And then at that time I was like freelancing. I was like, okay, do I want to keep on freelancing? Like I was open to opportunities, and it just so happened that like Facebook at that time was doing a similar thing where they were trying to like, at the time they're trying to humanize Facebook, so they were trying to make it like have like more tactile experiences within Facebook. And so they reached out to me because they were doing the stuff that I worked on was like, I got to work on this. This was where, what was this? This was like the help center. So like if you were having an issue with Facebook, this is where you would come. So like if you were really pissed at Facebook, you would see my illustration right there. So I don't know if that's good or bad. So this was the first project that I did with them, and then they were like, all right, like they started doing a similar thing where they were showing up on like national days, or like, so like there were for the holidays, they wanted to give they wanted to have people do like a gift card kind of sharing experience where you could share like a animated card that we made with anyone on Facebook. And we did like a similar thing for Valentine's Day. I did like a thing that would show up on top of your feed for Super Bowl, for March Madness. These are like a lot of things where they wanted to like make it seem like Facebook, they wanted to make it feel like Facebook cared about you, that it was giving you like this handmade gift. And then so that's what we were brought on to do. And then since then the style changed and it went purely more digital, which makes sense because it was quicker and faster and easier to scale than like having people hand make all these things. But there I met like a ton of awesome people. Like I met like a really, really good like friends that like I fully trust as far as like working on like paper projects with. So that was just like super awesome. But like now it's just like, go ahead.
I feel like the handmade stuff, like the analog, brought that sort of personal touch that they were wanting. It's a shame that they didn't keep going.
They went away from that.
Human.
I could totally see. I mean, it definitely took a long time, and like Facebook is all about like speed and being able to put things out fast. So we were it was a small team, and so we were cranking out a lot of stuff pretty quickly.
I remember getting those. I remember those popping up, the holiday cards and stuff. Yeah, they were really cool and like fun to work with. And so I think now I'm pretty much just going through older work. I don't know how like fast I should go. I feel like as far as time, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we're fine, but how much do you feel like you have a lot more, or?
It's just work, really. I could totally stop. Like, this is for sparkling ice.
I love
fun to work with.
Love those, yes.
And I think like these are like the projects that like, so like when you get like this is where like it's not about a lot of money, because these projects to me were not like, or like they weren't really, they didn't have a crazy budget, but they were like super open and like they wanted to just do like really, really fun things. And so like the projects that usually like pay the most are usually the most restrictive as far as what you can make. And so like since they were so open, they were flexible on time and on just like what we could create. I was like, I was like way stoked to partner with them, because I got to do some really, really fun stuff that I wouldn't probably be able to do on like higher paying projects.
Yeah, I love that watermelon. It's my favorite.
Yeah, that's a fun one. And then I was doing a bunch of like these like flat lay like pieces that like you're telling us, like I was telling a story, but they were like all kind of like broken out and like segmented, and like things organized neatly was a huge inspiration. And since I was doing those things, like you could see right here, I was doing, I did like, I would just be like, all right, like I want to make a holiday post and I want to talk, like I want to make one based on like Home Alone. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to pull all the key things out of like from Home Alone. And so like I would share these, and then Nickelodeon saw those, or like Nick Jr. saw those, and they're like, oh yeah, can you do some of those for our TV shows? So you have Paw Patrol, you have Blaze, and then you have, I think it was Shimmer and Shine. And it's basically like we'll do like a fun kind of guessing game on Instagram, like can you like name the show? And so it all just came from like going back to me doing just like pushing myself to do like, all right, I want to make a personal piece, you know, just for the holidays. And like doing it in this way that like Nick Jr. reached out and was like, let's make one for us.
Awesome.
And then I got to work with Marvel and 20th Century Fox on this Deadpool like 2-year anniversary release. And then this was like super fun and crazy. Like I was like, I don't know why I had the idea to like, they just wanted to, their whole thing was like, all we need is, we have this paper doll thing of Deadpool that's in the Blu-ray. We just need him to go into the back into the Blu-ray somehow. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna like, can we make his like nightstand, and we'll show like his he has like lotion and like tissues and like pizza and like all this stuff in there. And then I'll just make him flip into a phone and he's back like into like the mobile device kind of thing. And they were super on board with it. And I was like, all right. So I got to make this, like, that little nightstand is all out of paper, which is kind of crazy. There's
how big is it?
What's that?
How big is it? Is it like?
It's not full size, but it's pretty big. Like I was able to like sit on it like a chair. And like I smashed it when I was done. I was like, I just sat on it. So it's definitely pretty big. There's a little bit of cardboard in the actual drawer part, just because we had things on top and I didn't want it to sag. But everything else, like the legs and everything, are all paper. And it's just basically how you construct it. And it's all like hollow.
Wow.
And so that like Marvel like reaching out came by me just doing these kind of things for fun with my daughter. Where like we were super excited about like the next Marvel movie. I think this one was the Civil War with Captain America and Iron Man. And I was like, all right, let's just like do some like fun like food lettering kind of thing and like some paper mixed in, and I'll have like you be Captain America and Iron Man, and I would just like tag Marvel and Skittles or whatever on these things. And I did a couple of them. I did like another one for like Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that. And so, but just by doing these things, that led to them reaching out, and then I was able to make this weird ass nightstand thing. So another like passion side project that turned into a paid project.
I love it.
And here's the actual like Adidas one.
I love the
looking back at it now, there's a lot of things that I would definitely do different. Like, but it was a super fun experience working with actual like product and like their shoe and like a big Oreo. But yeah, it is like, this one is just like this was a fun one that I got to do with like Raise. They were like a gift card. They would buy your gift cards, I think, but like back from you and get money. So like I was like, and it was about like it was like the summertime and it was like grilling, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna have these like, I'm gonna have a grill and I'm gonna have these gift cards flipping and turning into like, you know, like actual things that you can buy with a gift card. And they were on board with that. And I got to make like a big fence, which like kind of reminds me of like Home Improvement. I don't like with like the neighbor looking over the fence. I don't know. And then I got to work with Fossil and make like, they were coming out with like a smart sport watch. And the whole thing was about like, they wanted to push the color. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna basically make like a MIDI kind of keyboard that has colorful keys, and every time you push it, your watch changes, like the band changed colors. And they were like, yeah, let's do that.
That's awesome.
And then Benefit, I got to work on them for Lunar New Year. It was it wasn't last. It was a couple years back now, but they had these. It was the year of the pig, and they had these little piggy makeup sets. And then we wanted to show like fun and cool ways of like how do we show like the piggy, but also show like the pieces inside it. And so we did like a firecracker kind of like explosion, and then on like a fan kind of reveal, and then the gold coins revealed things. And so they had a cool golden ticket that somebody could win. If that was in there, somebody could win a trip to San Francisco. That was really fun.
Very cool.
And then I like doing what I do. Like there's like so many like I have to tell myself always be open to like companies and clients that may not be or like sound super fun at the beginning, and like also like I'm like, so like why would like an automotive like car like company want to like me to make a like something with them out of paper? And so like at first I was like, I had no idea what I was gonna make, but all they had to say was like, you can make a paper engine, and I was like, yep, I'm sold. Like I will make a paper engine. And so that's what got me there. And we were just telling these like, this was basically us just telling like debunking these myths about like car engines and stuff like that, and like how this like fuel additive can help your engine run smoother and cleaner. And so we did like a bunch of spots, and I got to make a cool paper engine that the fan and like the what are they like those like the pistons on the inside go up and down. And so super fun project, like one of my favorite projects. And I didn't even know like I didn't think it would be like one of my favorite, but it definitely became.
I love the little puff of smoke. Is that like a cotton ball, or is it
like a cotton ball? Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It's just cotton balls. Yep.
Love it.
Then I got to work with specialized bicycles, and it's basically like I like working with like products and like having my paper interact with their little like with their products, and like having them live in like a weird surreal kind of world, and then add in like a little bit of animation. But I love that little koala like just hanging onto the sock right there.
Yeah, I didn't think about
then I got to.
That's kind of a different challenge. Like most of the things you had done before that, I mean, I guess you had some food add-ins, but like having to show the product with your illustration and animation is kind of a new challenge, rather than just like completing or creating the whole environment yourself.
Yeah. Yep. It's definitely, and like whenever this happens, like it's really good that I get to like in this case, I got to work with like their photographer, because like it would be a pain in the butt to have to light specifically for like a helmet and stuff. And so like their photographer knows how to light those things. So in this case, it's like really, this is like where I'm more of like I'm not a prop stylist, but like I make the props and then I style them. But like we concept it together, and then like shoot them. And so like, yeah, like there are times when I don't like to, when I don't need to tell I don't need to do all the work. Like in this case, it was cool that I didn't have to do all the photographing and the editing and all that stuff. So like, yeah, it's definitely, there's times when I'm like, all right, I'll let go of the reins a little bit. And then I got to work, this was a few summers back now, the first summer that I got to work with Target for their in-store summer campaign. And it was basically, this was super cool because we were taking, I made all these pieces out of paper, and then we would photograph them, and then we showed those were on end caps, and then they were like, we're actually going to make your paper pieces like huge and have them at the front of the store. And I was like, what? I was totally blown away that we actually got to like, you had to take my paper pieces and then make them into like these ginormous like dimensional pieces that like I have a full set like at my house, and they're huge, and you could see my son like chilling in that flamingo. Like they're ginormous.
So did they scale them up for you, or did you have to scale it up, and how did that work?
What's cool is because like my since my stuff is in Illustrator and it's like template, like it like, and there's like a die for it, they were able to like take my my artwork and figure out how they could like mass produce it and make it in a way that the employees could make it, which is like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that like I bet you like a lot of those employees hate me because some like that flamingo was a pain in the ass to make. Like there's so much internal structure for it to like, because it has to suspend from the ceiling, which it was like, it's crazy. Like they are like so smart. And like the hamburger has like a inner structure that all the ingredients like go around.
Oh wow.
So yeah, they were able to take my files and work from that. So it was a cool collaboration in that regard.
Wow.
Yeah, and then another company or like that I did not think would be super fun and cool was is AARP. And so I was like, why are they reaching out? But like they've been so like one of my favorite like teams to like work with. They just like we get to just make fun stuff like this like little shopping cart like saving money where it's all about basically I would always come up with like they would bring me on for their 99 ways to save, and it's like a bunch of like cool little like tips and tricks on how to save money. And so like it's like, you know, kids meals, stuff like that. And so like I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a adventure map of a kids meal, and they were super cool about like yeah, do it. And then like sightseeing kind of one, which is like the binocular one, like saving money. It's not animated on here, but like little money signs come in and cover it. Saving money with like streaming services, and that's kind of like where like in that top right. But they've been so awesome, and like I would not have thought that they would have been one of my favorite clients that like to team up with as well.
They're just like super flexible or open for things.
Yeah, like flexible, open, just really, really nice people too. Like yeah, like we've become like really, really, really good friends now.
Awesome.
And I got to work with Target again. This was for the Target house. Like they do they have a party for cancer patients. We were gonna have I was gonna do another one last year, but with COVID and everything, they didn't have that party. But I got to do it for this year, and on this year it was like a garden party, and they wanted to, and so I pitched the idea of making it look like a seed packet, and like so like these like the vegetables and the plants and everything are growing out of the packet, and then you got like Bullseye's little garden gathering. So this was like a super fun. It was like a cool mix of like dimensional, but also like flat layered, which I like to like play with sometimes too.
It needs to be a kid's book.
Yeah, definitely. It would be cool. That's definitely like a goal. I think I need to do it. Like I need to make like a pop-up kind of kids book and like on my own so people could see, and then maybe I'll get an actual job out of it.
Yes.
And then like another thing where like New Balance was like, we have a new shoe coming out, and it's a mashup kind of shoe. And they were just going by people by their cities, and so that since I'm from like Southern California, they put me for LA, and so like they're like we want it to feel like it's from LA. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have it make it look like it's like a movie marquee, but it's also like a mashup kind of machine. So you push the button and like you get like this 990 and 801 mashup shoe, which is that one. But then I also did like I had like a food and like photography mashup, and that's how you get that burger camera. And then it had a food and fitness mashup, and that's how you get the donut dumbbell. So just a weird, fun thing to make.
Love it.
And then I got to work with my friend that I like my really good friend that I met when I was at Facebook. Now she's like one of my best friends. Her name is Raina. I got to team up with her on this thumbtack project, and we basically got to just make these little cool little party kind of like scenes that Thumbtack could help you. Like it could help you clean your pool. Thumbtack will help you build a tree house, which is crazy. They'll also even help you like figure out how to host like a block party. You got your food truck and your camera and stuff. So all these things that I didn't know, which is like really, really cool to learn about. another AARP one where like this is like probably one of my favorite pieces, like where this was for COPD, like the chronic like lung, and so like they wanted to show basically like how like the effects of like outside like factors, also like vaping and stuff like that, and like smoking and like all those things that like affect your lungs. And so we created this really pretty like this super like striking and visual like animation with like the lungs and like the like landscape on the inside.
I love it.
And I think we're getting closer to the end of this part. I got to team up with, most recently was like, it was this last summer. Yeah, I got to team up with Target again. And these are like the newer pieces that we made. We made like a this unicorn floaty, like this cool like sun rainbow kind of pairing. I got to make these really cute little lobsters that were playing with the beach ball. They were on like either end cap, and like it was like they were playing passing the ball to each other. And then some wayfinding signage, like where the lobster was showing you where to go for their seasonal section. And then we did like a summer reading, and we got this really like this Flow of the Flamingo, just really relaxing, reading a book. And then for Father's Day, we did like a trophy with confetti and all this stuff. And I think I did like a s'more as well. And then a couple of other things.
I remember seeing all of these in store. I was so excited.
Yeah, they were, and it's cool because like a lot of it is like it's all made pieces, and then we photograph them, and like they really capture like that paper texture really well. I think this one, because of COVID, like me and my friend, we had to shoot them here and do like a Zoom kind of like photo session. So like that was definitely different, but like a really cool learning experience too.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so trusting the process, like for like my whole thing has been a crazy process. Like my process in general is crazy, and like the process that like it took to get here was pretty crazy. And like I didn't even know like where I would be. Like it's crazy that I am able to do and make the things that I do for like a living right now. So I know I cannot complain at all for that. And like, I think if I was in a rush to get anywhere, like in my career, like I probably wouldn't be where I am, because I could have just rushed through things and like pushed past things. And like sometimes, like not being open to opportunities or like new and like taking those risks. Like I I could still be just designing, like, not like paint cans, but like I could be designing things that like totally, like weren't like a good fit for me. I think so. I have more, but I think this could be a good place to stop, because this is more process. I don't know if you want to, if you want me to keep going.
Well, let's see if anybody has questions. I have a bajillion questions, and maybe some of those process shots will come up. Let me see. I'm gonna put just your face on. Yeah.
Okay. I can't see anything. I still have to see my slide. Should I go ahead and close it out?
Go ahead and leave that share tray up. I still have it. So if you want to show something, I can click the button. I'm going to give the audience a chance to type questions. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment area and I'll read those. I have a bunch of questions and comments. I mean, like my mind's just buzzing. Like I love hearing about your process. I love hearing, I'm a big believer in passion projects too. I love that you do passion projects, and then that kind of turns into the work that you want to be doing or the work that you're getting. I love all your, you have to make a shit ton of bad ideas to find the good ones. I mean, that's so true. So I love all of these nuggets. One question I had was, you might have said this, what did you study in college? Did you study graphic design, illustration? Did you take any photography classes, or have you just like picked all of this up?
Yeah, it was basically, like more traditional graphic design. So like I thought I was going to go into like I really wanted to go into package like design, and like
That's
kind
right.
of in a way I am
Yeah.
doing package design. Like I'm just making all these like paper pieces. But yeah, I think I took like one class, like one photography class. Like I took one in high school, and then I took another one in school, but no real like like anything further than that. It's just been like me having like I was like, okay, I was really into 3D, and I was like, okay, I don't like how did they get like their object to float and everything. So I would use that as like a base where like I want to get that. How do I do that now with with a camera? And so it was just a lot of like trial and error, experimenting. Yeah, and just trying to figure things out. Like a lot. Like yeah, it was a lot of trial and error for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like you're fail fast and learn fast. I can see that you just like you dive in and you just go for it and you figure it out. Like you said, your first animation job, you were kind of like, yeah, sure, I can do that. Uh-oh, you've frozen. Can you hear me? Tommy, I lost you. Can you hear me? Guys, I'm not sure what happened. The screen froze and then Tommy disappeared. Give me a second and see. We'll see if he's able to get back in. Hold on one sec. Sorry, Tommy. Okay, can you hear me? You are muted on my end. Let's see. Will it let you unmute? Let me see if I can do it here. Oh. Where can I unmute? Sorry. I swear I didn't touch anything that time. Hold on. For some reason, you're still muted. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, no, it does have you as a presenter. Let me try. Can you unmute from your end? Is it allowing you? When I'm clicking the mute, it's not letting me change that. Oh no. I'm not sure. Did you join? What did we do last time when you were muted? Did we join from the right link? Okay, let me see if I click on you and send you live, if that unmutes you. It looks like you're still muted. Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second. How did we unmute you last time? Oh no. Tommy, no. I'm clicking the microphone. It's not letting me unmute you. It says you're a presenter. Darn. Are you able to type in the comments? No. Okay. Man. Oh, no. Did something change? Guys, I lost him again. I've got a couple of questions I'd like to ask him if we can get it working. Not sure why. Let's see. Okay, it says you're in. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, it says you're in as a presenter, but it's still got your microphone.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Now you're back. Okay. Good.
All right.
Sorry. I don't know what happened.
It's okay.
Real quick, because
it just booted me.
It did. Real quick, just because I know you probably have kids to run around after. A couple of questions from viewers. And I had this question too. One was about papers. Do you have favorite papers, or do you experiment with different papers? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I've got my face on here. Let me send your face on there.
Yeah. I use a mixture of I use a paper called Canson, Mi Tientes. It's basic.
That's my favorite.
Canson, and then I use one called Fabriano Tiziano. Yeah. You can get these from I get mine from there's our art store here is called there's Blick Arts and they have a really awesome selection of really cool colorful papers. I use French paper, but that's that's super smooth. If I want the toothy kind of texture, that's when I'll use the Canson and the Fabriano, and then just bulk craft paper from either a craft store arts or an art place. Some colors are super hard and specific to find, so those are where I'll find if I go to a Michael's or a Joanne kind of place, and that's where I'll find a couple sheets of a certain color that I need versus a big 18 by 24 kind of sheet.
Yeah, I love that Canson paper too. Yeah, color. What if you can't find the right color? Do you ever just you just can tweak it a little bit in Photoshop, or do you try to always get
I think color? I try to get as close. When I'm showing my color sketches, it's this is the colors that I could usually pull from, and I usually try to talk to whoever I'm working with to be this is real color, so we're limited. If it's a static image, then it's easier to tweak it. So I'll use a color that's close to it, and then I'll be able to tweak it in post. But if it's an animation, that could get super long and time consuming to have to color each thing. But yeah, so I try to keep my colors in my comps to like, this is the color that we're kind of going to get to. So that way they know.
You might like pull the Canson catalog and say like, these are kind of palette.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I have a question from a grad student of ours, and I'm gonna just read the whole question. He says, Tommy, I love the work. A few times you mentioned that fear is often present when first starting a project. What are some of the strategies you use to push past that stage?
Deadlines are a really good way to get past that stage. I think that's like the most like driving force is like factor is like a deadline, because like I will procrastinate a bit, like, or I will like procrastinate, or I will do other, like I will make other things and have my mind like think like in the background about that project and not like try to force me to sketch or like to do that project. So I'm like, because I'll definitely just sit here and like spin my wheels, and I'm like, okay, I could be doing something, like I could be making something, you know, filling this time with something, and so I'll tend to try to make in place of that. But I don't know the exact fully answer, because like I definitely like there is that white like screen, that blank screen of like, what could I do? And yeah, it's like just jumping right in. I did find like talking to my friend too about like just do your first pass. Like your first pass is going to be shit. Like it, like, and it should be, because like once you get it out there, you're like, okay, well, it's out there. I feel good because I got it out. And even if the sketch isn't like, or the concept isn't good, it's like you have something there to build off of.
Yeah.
So like I've been okay with like my first pass is not going to be my best thing. And so like I always know I'm going to build off of that thing. But it's like, yeah, that initial step forward is like the hardest thing. But tell yourself that it's okay to have a crappy first pass.
Yeah, because like you said, you just have to keep making a bunch of stuff to get to the good thing. It's like, we say this a lot, like when you shoot back in the old day when you had film in a camera, right? You shoot a roll of film in a camera, it probably takes a whole roll of film to get like one decent shot, right? So lots of ideas before you get to that good one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think knowing that for me, it's been like knowing that my first sketch is not going to be good has been like, and being okay with that has definitely helped me, because I know that I could just iterate on that thing. Like, because like if you don't have nothing there, you can't iterate onto it. So it's just like having that one thing there and just building, okay, all right, this sketch is crude. I got the general idea on it. Now I'm going to tighten it up and then put a layer on that and then another layer on that, and just like building it up to get that better thought out.
Yeah, and I didn't think about it until you said it in one of your earlier slides. Like, you can't make a lot of changes after you've, like, I guess you maybe could play with positioning of stuff a little bit and lighting a little bit, but like clients are kind of approving a flat 3D thing. And there's not a lot of room for changes after that. So that's really interesting. I hadn't really.
Which is it's pretty risky for them for sure, because it's like they're used to like being able to change things up to like the last minute, till like you're like sharing or posting or like live date, when it's like I could do that, like, and that's where like we have to like set like, okay, I could change color. Like, but for me to go in and like, I can't change the shape of something. Like I can't totally add like a piece. And if you want that, like we can do it later, but it's going to cost you. And so like, I think them knowing that it's going to cost them, it really, really helps them to be like, all right, is this what we want right here? And like nailing it down. But there has been cases where it's like, we have like logos approved on like certain things, and then they're like, well, we want to change this logo now. And I'm like, okay, well, now I have to go in each frame and take that logo out and put a different logo. Are you sure you want that? And they're like, yes, we have to do it. And then, so like, all right, it's going to cost you like X amount of money. So like, it has happened for sure.
Wow. Yeah. But I mean, as you said, also if they're seeing the color comp and you have this massive portfolio of work, I mean, it's not a huge gamble. They can hopefully, because you have such a big portfolio of this type of work, they can see what it's going to look like. They trust. Yeah.
Yeah. And I try to stay as close to that digital comp as possible with like the it's going to be better than what it looks there, but it's going to be like, I'm going to match where things are, but you're just going to get a fully dimensional piece that has like depth and like dimension. And so like, they're definitely like, I like usually when I'm starting to work with like a new brand or like whoever it is, there's like, these are my examples of like my process. Like I have like my sketch, my digital, and like my final, and they kind of get like, okay, we totally get how you're going to work. And then just throughout the whole process, it's like being open and sharing things, it's more like, I find like, I love, like, I don't like, oh, well, they just hired me. Like, it's no, like, we are truly collaborating on like what we're doing. And I think that's what's been like really cool. Like, and I've been like fortunate where like the people that I've teamed up with, it's been a collaboration.
Do you, like, after they approve those color comps, do you say like, oh, okay, here's one of the built objects and here's another built object, like before you go and actually photograph it? How much do you let them sort of weigh in
that could be like, it could be good and it could be bad. It could be good where like they get to be a part of the process. But it could be bad where they're like, all right, well, can we change this and can we change that? Where they like, so there's a fine line that we walk where it's like, if they really want to be involved, then we do share process, but we let them know that we're not going to change anything right now because like I haven't, like, it's not finished yet. A lot of the times there's like a lot of trust where they're like, all right, just go on and do what you got to do.
Okay.
But whenever they do ask, I definitely try to have them involved as much as possible. But yeah, there is the fear that they will want to change something.
Right. Okay, Patrice has the same question that I had asked you before we got started earlier. Do you have a warehouse of paper objects, and what happens to them after you're done? That's what everybody wants to know. We want to see this big warehouse of stuff.
Yeah. I definitely need more shelf space, but like if they want them, I'm super cool like with like the client, like keeping them. A lot of the Target stuff, like that, like the stuff that we made, they kept. And then, but other stuff, it's like I will pick and choose the stuff that I want out on like a shelf or whatever. But usually it ends up in like a plastic bin. I have a bunch in like my closet, and I have a bunch in the garage, like just stacked up, and they're starting to pile up, which is kind of like, it's getting pretty crazy. I gotta like purge it. But what I was mentioning, like it's really, really good for me to go back and see how did I build that, because that could inform how I build something on this current project that I'm working on, like size, scale, like whatever. Like I'm able to like use like stand-in pieces to like see, to like set up a shot in a way.
Yeah.
So that's been really cool. Where like if I don't have anything made, but I have something that's similar, I could do a quick like camera test setup and see like, okay, I need to make it this big. Like I need to make, this set this big. So that's been really good to have those pieces around too.
Wow.
But yeah, they're just in bins.
I love it. We need to get you a big show with all of them, I think.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I had another question, man. I lost it. Yeah, I mean, your work in still, like your flat lays and stuff, it's amazing, and I love it. Your sense of color is amazing. It's amazing to see these built objects, but then the animation is just a whole other level. Like it's so fun to see the animated pieces, and it's amazing to me like how you're able to think of not only illustrating the 3D object, but then, animating or building stop motion animation for these pieces. It's crazy. Yeah. My mind's trying to figure out how you plan that all out.
Yeah, because like everything, so I need to do like a reach out to like people who do sound, because like everything is done pretty much like here. It's me just doing everything, but I don't know how to do sound, like sound design. That was cool. So like
next layer, yeah.
Because like I'll usually do all the editing and the animating, and I'll drop in like if like the client has like sound, I could go into like like After Effects and Premiere, and I could drop the sound in, but I don't do like the sound effect and like those like that sound design. So I'll hand them that back to them, and they usually will drop that in. But it would be cool to like be able to do it on my own, or have like a resource for me to reach out to. So it would be, because that just adds like that extra more life to it. Like sound, I think is super cool.
Yeah, I guess that's a good lead into sort of my next question is like, what's next on your passion project or goals? So it's maybe like adding a sound element to your animated stuff. Sounds like it.
Yeah, sound is. And like one thing that was on my list, and I got to do it a little bit last year, and I want to do more this year, is like make things that people could like, that could get into people's hands. So like I started making these hearts, which I didn't really share, but I started making these hearts, and it's just like on Wednesdays I'll share like a heart shaped whatever it is that like I'm like into. So like I've made like, you know, burger, fries, I've made like a lot of different things. And so like last year I was able to, there's like this there's like a designer conference called Designercon. It's like a conference, and like a kind of like a what is it? What's the other one in San Diego? Why am I blanking on it? The name Comic-Con. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like a Comic-Con in a way. So like so you have like panels and you have like all these things, but it's more designer focused. And so like I was like first time I ever like vended and like sold like stuff. So that was really cool to have like a sellable like product that people could actually buy. And like the whole goal of it is just to like share like this love and like share happiness with people. So like I got to figure out how to do, because I also want to do giveaways with them too. So I want to do more of that. And like you were mentioning like an art gallery kind of show, that would be cool. Even if it was just purely all these hearts that I made like all on these walls, like that would be super cool.
Yeah. Well, we'll have you here for a show. We'll have the that's a show.
Yeah, for sure. That would be awesome.
Okay, so Patrice, you maybe answered that, but it's similar. Patrice is asking, what's your current passion project? Is it Heart-Shaped Wednesdays, or is there something else?
Right now it is Heart-Shaped Wednesdays. And like, it's funny because like, this is where like I gotta like take my own kind of like advice where like, because like I get like super, like sometimes I just get really like unmotivated to share on Instagram, but I literally know, like I just like, oh my gosh, like Instagram is like, there's another layer that I got to do. And like, I just been like so turned off by Instagram, and like, but it's been like a super really awesome and like tool to get like people to see my work.
Right.
And so when I don't share, I get like super, like I get like no engagement kind of thing, right? When I do share on the end. So it's like a weird cycle where like, if I don't get engagement and I share something, it makes me think that what I'm sharing sucks. Right. But I have to take my own advice and be like, it doesn't suck. No one like, it's just like no one is really seeing it. And so like I'm trying to just share on Instagram like purely for the fun and not for the likes like again. Yeah. So that's been hard, but like definitely something that I need to tell myself to do. And like I've been saying it's okay. Like that one person just needs to see it, you know?
It's always nice to hear that like makers like you, who I think of as superstars, feel that same way, because I think, you know, we all feel it. You know, it's like, why did I do this thing? And yeah, maybe I'm making
especially no, it's definitely like that imposter syndrome. Yeah, like, and like with everything that's been going on too, it's been like a lot of like heightened mental like of like being easy on myself to be like, hey, like you've gone through a lot. Like we've all gone through a lot. Like right now, yeah. If you don't feel like making something like every single day, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, so
it's weird.
The Wednesdays. Yeah, how long does it take you to make a heart-shaped Wednesday usually? How much time do you spend on that?
I try, because I need to fit those. I try to fit those in like with all the work that I got going on too. Right. So, and like, it's like a catch-22 because I wanted to look really cool, but I have to find the level, like the balance of like complexity and also like being able to make it quick. And so like usually I have to get it done in like a day. So it's like I have to make. So I'll have like the idea of brewing, and then I have to like make, like I'll take a day like usually on the weekends to make it, and then I gotta photograph it, and then. Like I make them into like little like they're Giphy stickers as well. So you could go if you go into Giphy and you look up like T-Rez or Tommy Perez or Heart-Shaped Wednesdays, they should pop up. Oh, just because nice. It's more because I want them to be there. It's not like no one, like if no one uses it, it's fine. It's more that I want them there. but that's like another layer that I add on myself to be like, okay, so you have to like photograph it, and then you also have to like make a GIF out of it, and then you have to make this wood lasered backer that has like the name on it. And it's like, is it like layers? Because it's like I want to do it, but it just adds a lot of time. But I've gotten into a good rhythm where it doesn't take too long. It's like usually like a day and a half, like of like on and off kind of thing.
Wow. Okay. Patrice wants to know, do you run any workshops online or in person?
I don't have anything. It would be cool to do like to do like a Skillshare kind of video. I just don't know what I would teach like yet. Back I did do when I did previous kind of like guest speaking, I did like a workshop where like I did like it was like a perforated punch out, build your own like hamburger, and that was pretty cool. Where people got to build a hamburger with me and like figure out like how things fold and glue, and that was super cool. But I just don't really. I need to like really like figure out what would be like the most like practical thing that people would want to learn from what I do, because there's like a lot of things like is it going to the basic? Yeah, is it going to the basics? Like there's a lot of paths it could go. That in itself is like a project, like a big project.
Yeah.
But I would love to do it.
I bet Patrice has ideas. She's full of ideas. So we'll see if she can come up with some thoughts there. I mean, I think for me, like thinking about how you translate, but I don't know how this works into a workshop, but you know, how you translate a sketch into 3D objects, you know, just that idea is probably something that most people aren't doing. So that might be a cool component of it. I mean,
that's like, so it is a very hard thing because I don't even know, like, to look at something and be like, okay, this is how it'll fold. This is how it's, I don't even really fully understand it. Like for me, I just like doing it. Like that's what's crazy.
Yeah.
I got to like figure out how to teach it.
Yeah. Or maybe it's not even that they, well, I don't know. We'll have to come back to that. We'll have this idea. I mean,
am open for that for sure.
I really wanted to have you here and do some sort of a workshop. But you know, I was still worried about COVID being an issue, and here we are. But maybe one day, not too far away, we can still have you come.
In the future, for sure.
I think there might be one more new question. Let me see. Oh, yes. Patrice says yes, translation. So I think that was yes to my comment of how to translate the sketch into built objects. Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, I'd have to really think about like how I do that too, because like my style is like pretty simple. It's like having it like it's like not super low poly, but it is like it's taking something and like making it easily readable. And I think so I got to figure out how to like, if you're making like a bun, like if you're making like how would that like fold, like how many, I mean, it's all like how you think, like how many sides you want. I think for me, like I go back and forth between like organic and like faceted, and it's taken a while for me to get here, but I definitely like ride the line between organic shape and faceted. If I don't know how to do it fully organic, then I'll do it like more faceted.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the faceted makes it look more handmade somehow, you know?
Yeah.
I picture. I can't picture, but I could see you doing like, what if you did like the donut and you showed everybody like how you made the donut, and then they got to personalize like the topping on the donut, and then you do like a group photo of all these donuts together or something.
Yeah, it's like, and then we have like a big pink box at the end and we put our donuts in, and I am about like experience. That's like kind of like where the Heart Shape Wednesdays is coming from. It's like the whole experience of like a paper piece. Like you get the cool box, you get like a cool thing, like you hang it on your wall, you get like stickers, you get like, it's like experience. And I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I think that could be cool. Just like one object that they all can sort of customize and then bring together to shoot or something. could be super
A
fun.
thought too was like for like a workshop like I had was like when I was doing like burger ideating. It's like each group kind of makes separate parts of the meal, or like even if it's not a burger, it's like separate parts of a meal, and then you bring that all together and you have like a big like feast like going on, but it's all paper.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like that could be pretty cool and fun.
Yeah, totally. Love that. Okay, well, I could talk to you all day, but I feel like we need to wrap this up, and I'm probably going to send you a million things afterwards. But I want to say thank you so much. It's been so amazing. Your work is amazing, but it's so exciting to see your process. And really, we really appreciate you sharing. I love that you're just so open about it. But yeah, super fun, super exciting. I want to go make stuff now. Definitely let's talk about having your heart-shaped Wednesdays here. Yeah. And I'm just looking.
Yeah, no, awesome. I'm super thankful like that you invited me. Like I love doing I love sharing as much as I can and whenever I get the chance. And I'm really glad that we got to make this work. And you're thanking me, but I'm like equally thanking you. Like I think this is awesome. Thank you.
Oh, good. Well, good. I'm glad. It's been a treat. Yeah, so excited. So keep in touch and take care. Have a great night. Thanks, everybody.
You too. All right. Thank you.
Much.
Bye.
Bye.